Hello everybody, welcome to Dolly Tabled. My name is Shaggy, and today I'm doing a full solo playthrough of Circle the Wagons Second Shot. This is a standalone sequel to the original Circle the Wagons, and it's currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. If you're interested, you can check out a link in the description below. Now, if you're familiar with the original Circle the Wagons, this game is very similar with 18 new scoring cards. And in fact, it can be shuffled up with the original game, and you can play a new mode known as the Newfangled mode, which combines the two decks. In order to play solo, you need the expansion, the Lone Cowboy, which will have 9 different solo scenarios for Second Shot. And that's what I've set up here. You either want to pick or randomly draw a scenario from the Lone Cowboy deck, which I've done here, and got cattle rustlers. Around these parts, the only thing that tells anyone you own a herd of cattle is there's a gun on your hip. So there underneath the title, you see Steer Clear and Bear Arms. Those are going to be your 2 scoring cards for this scenario. So you just want to find them, flip them face up, which I've done. Then you want to shuffle the rest of the cards and create this nice 8-card circle with the rest of the deck in the middle. Now for Steer Clear, we're going to get at the end of the game a point for every row and column that does not have a cow in it. That's simple enough. And then for Bear Arms, we're going to get 3 points for every gun symbol that is not adjacent to another gun symbol. And here adjacency means both orthogonal and diagonal. So we're looking for guns without cows. And if we look at the Cattle Rustlers card, it shows here at the bottom how our opponent is going to score. They're going to get 3 points per card that they take that has at least 1 gun on it. And then they're also going to get 3 points for every card that doesn't have a cow. So they have very similar goals to us. So we always get to start, and we start here at this top card. Now we can either draft that card, or we can skip it and move to the next card, going clockwise. But any cards that we skip are given to our opponent. So if we wanted to, we could skip all the way down to here or here, but we'd just be giving a bunch of cards to the AI. That's not a good idea. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take this first card, and then I'm going to put it over here to start my tableau that I'm building. Thematically, we're creating our own boomtown over here. So now our solo opponent gets to go. They're going to look at this first card, and for this first round, they are going to look at these 4 different terrains on this card and compare them to the 4 different terrains here on the top of the deck. In this game, there are 6 different terrains, and then as well 6 different icons that are on top of those terrains. And a combination of those is in each quadrant. The solo opponent is going to take this card if one of these quadrants exactly matches a quadrant that's on the top of the deck. And that means both terrain type and icon. In this case, there isn't an exact match. So they're going to skip that card and move on to the next card. And here, there is an exact match. We have this bottle, which is beer, on a forest terrain. And here we have a bottle of beer on a forest terrain. So because there's a match there, they're going to take this card. And they're going to take the top card of the deck. Now, if that wasn't a match, they would move on to the third card. They'd skip 2 cards, look at this card. If there wasn't a match there, they'd go back to the first card and just take that one without getting the card on top of the deck. So at most, they'll skip 2 cards looking for that match. And if they don't see it, they'll just take the first card. But because they skipped this card, we now get it. And we can add it to our tableau. When we add cards to our tableau, we can flip this, but we can't do it like that. And we have to be orthogonally adjacent. We can't just have it diagonally adjacent. So we couldn't do that. But we could do something like that. We also can't tuck a card underneath a previously placed card, but we can overlap on top. And if possible, we'd like to make large groups of the same terrain. Because at the end of the game, we're going to score points for each of our largest groupings of each terrain type. So something like that might be good, creating this 4-section of mountain terrain. Okay, there we go. Now it's back to our turn. Now, personally, not loving this card because of all the cows on it. So I might skip that one and come here. This also has a cow on it, which is not ideal, but it's got a gun, and we can always cover up that cow later, hopefully. We'll be giving them this card, which will be worth 3 points because there is a gun on it, but I think I'd almost rather not have that in my boomtown. Now, thinking ahead, if we did take that card, they would skip this one. And they would skip that one as well. And then they'd jump up to this one. Oh no, and they wouldn't take that one either, because there's just no matches. So they'd come back and they'd take this one. So if we take this one, they take this one. If we skip this one and take this one instead, they'll get that. And then they'll skip this. They'll skip that. Oh, and then they'll skip that one also. And then they'll take this one, which means we would get this one. And that's the card that... Actually, that's not great either, because all those guns are next to each other. They won't score for bare arms. Okay, I think I am going to skip this one and take this one. So they're going to get this one. Now, I don't want this gun to be next to that one. So if I did something like that, that would work. Even that would work. That's not bad. And then we could maybe try to connect the red through there, which is desert. That red represents desert. These cows are a little annoying, but okay, I think we're going to go with that. And now we figured this out. There's no match on this card. There's no match on that card. No match on that card. So they're going to come back and they're just going to take this one, but they won't get the card in the middle. It's now our turn. And I think I'm going to skip that card and take this one. Possibly. I mean, this card will be worth 3 points to them. And this card will be worth 3 points to them as well. And one thing I didn't mention is at the end of the game, our solo opponent is also going to score each of their cards based on the number of different types of terrain on that card. So you can see on this card, there are 4 different types of terrain. And so they only score 1 point for that card. If there are 3 types of terrain, like on this card, they score 2 points. And if there's only 2 types of terrain, like on this card here, then they get 3 points for that. So technically, this card is actually worth the 3 for the gun and 1 for the 4 different types of terrain. So that's worth 4 points to them, where this one would be worth 5. But if I take this one, then they take that one, then I'll get to lead the second round when we deal out these cards. So maybe that's worthwhile. Okay, I'm going to take this one. Now, okay, if I go like that... No. If I go like this... I've extended my mountains. I've covered up one of the cows. And later, I can cover that gun up and maybe both of those, or that one and that one. Okay, we'll go with that. And then this is the last one, so they'll take that. There's no match here, so they won't get that middle card. And there we go. That's the end of round 1. To start round 2, we just deal out the rest of the cards, however many there are, in a little circle. And because the solo opponent took the final turn in the last round, we get to start this round. Once again, we're going to start up here. And nothing changes for us. We're just going to keep drafting like we were before. But the solo opponent is going to do something different depending on the scenario. And you can see right there on Cattle Rustlers, it says second round opponent draft. And in this case, they're going to skip 1 card if the next card has fewer cows on it. So essentially, they're going to take the first card unless the next card has fewer cows. Now, what's interesting here is we have a bunch of cards that don't have that many cows on them. And in fact, they don't have a lot of guns on them either. There's this one with a gun and this one with a gun. And that's it. So I definitely want to get those. Yeah, so we just got to take this first card. And that doesn't seem too bad. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Then they're just going to take this one. So let's see. If I take this one, they'll take this one, so I can get this one. And there's no reason for me to let them have these guns. Yeah. Okay, so we'll take this. We need to start covering up some of these guns. We need to cover that gun up. And probably this one. So we could just go like this, honestly. Get rid of that gun and the cow. Yep. Once we get rid of that gun, then that gun will score, as well as that one, and that one. Okay, that works for me. This one has fewer cows than that one. We'll take it. I'll grab this one with a cow. Ugh. Now, I think if I put the cows in the same row, that will at least minimize the damage. In fact, that works pretty well. Now I can just take out that gun. Okay, yeah, we'll stick with that. Then they just get this one. And we get this one. They were the same number of cows, so they're just going to take the first one. And... oh, yeah, there we go. Yep, I think that works. That's it. We're all done. Now we just got to score up. Okay, so I've made my own little scoring card here. So first we're going to do steer clear. We get 1 point for every row and column that doesn't have a cow. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. Then bear arms. Every gun that's not adjacent to a gun. I think all of them that are showing count. So that's just 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3, 12 points. Now we're going to look at our largest regions of each terrain type and get a point for every space. So for desert, it looks like it's just 2. Forest is just 1. Snow, we have a little 3 spot over here, so that was good. Mountain is our big one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plains is the yellow, that's just 1. And water is just 2. Adding all that together, I think, is 36 points. Okay, we now go over to our AI opponent. They're going to get 3 points for each card that has at least 1 gun on it. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12. They're now going to get 3 points for every card that doesn't have a cow. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And now they get points for every card based on the number of terrain types, different terrain types. So here, 4 different terrain types, so that's just 1 point. Again, 1 point, so that's 2. This has 3 terrain types on it, so that's going to be 2 points, so that's 4. And this has 2 types of terrain types, so that's 3 points. So that's going to be 4 plus 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And so they got 42 points and beat us. Now that was playing on medium difficulty. You can play an easier game where the terrain scoring is a little bit less. Basically, the only thing that changes is when they have just 2 terrain types, that's worth 2 points rather than 3. Or you can play on a more difficult level where even their 4 terrain types are worth 2 rather than 1. And of course, that's just one of 9 total different objectives that you can play. But there you go. That was a complete solo game of Circle the Wagons Second Shot. Again, if you're interested, please check out the Kickstarter campaign. There's a link in the description below. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.